Hi, in preparation for our next class, I wanted you to think about what topic you might pursue for your individual research project. This is just a little exercise to help you think through an element of scale, because often students will try to do a study that is either too small or too big for the constraints of the time that they have to do this research project. So first, as Maxwell guides you through, is to think about your personal goals and what you're interested in. Remember that for this assignment, I'm asking that you concentrate on questions of college teaching and learning, which is a pretty broad topic, so you're good. What is your interest area broadly described? And then think about, is there a physical or a virtual site in which your interest lies? Think back about what we talked about in terms of what is a field site, a place in which there are social interactions, events, places where people are coming to understand practices or understand phenomena. Then, is there a population or a characteristic group about which your interest lies? Are you specifically interested in faculty or students, certain kinds of faculty, certain kinds of students? Then try completing the following sentence. The topic of my research is, and just practice saying that sentence. Now frame that topic as a question, and that requires you thinking about the topic from a particular perspective or context. So for example, if the topic of my research is the success of first-generation college students, then I might say, in what ways do first-generation college students experience their first general education courses, or something like that. You'll see how we narrow it down. The conceptual framework that you bring, and this is what you're going to talk about in concept maps in the next unit, you'll learn more about that, comes from different disciplines. So in my case, as an anthropologist, I'm interested in ways that people have cultural understandings of the things that they experience. So when I'm talking about first-generation college students, I might be thinking about what kind of cultural capital do first-generation college students bring to their first semester of college. We talked about this last semester in Sociology of Higher Ed, for those of you who took that class. Conceptual frames also come from comparative analysis, where we can compare and contrast what are the differences between first-generation college students whose parents have had some community college, including an associate's degree, compared to students whose parents have a baccalaureate degree. Or we could look at thematic similarities or differences. And conceptual frames can also come from problems of practice. How can we make the college experience better, for example, for first-generation college students? Maxwell will talk more about different sources for research questions, and that's one of the things that we're going to talk about in the next unit. So using a single conceptual frame, this is just a kind of a thought experiment. Try scaling up and down from your topic to explore different levels of analysis. At a meta level or at a mega level, what is your topic at an almost global level? What is your topic at a disciplinary level? At a theoretical level, at a practical level, or an exemplary level? Let me go through what that means. So at a global level, if my interest is in first-generation college students and their success and transition to college, what is that topic at a global level? Well, and considering that my discipline is from a sociocultural perspective, I might think about how are people successful in navigating society? And then at a disciplinary level, specifically, how is social stratification, something about social stratification, how does social equity affected by credentials? At a theoretical level, I might say, how are students socialized into college? At a practical level, how are students whose parents did not go to college, first-generation college students, how do they experience the socialization of college in the first semester? And then specifically, at an exemplary level, how do students whose parents did not complete a baccalaureate degree in other words, first gen. How do they experience their first semester in college, specifically in their required general education courses? So you can see how I can take one topic and go all the way up to how do people succeed in society, to all the way down to how do a group of students, and I could even go further and say, how do students from a rural high school that is a non-competitive academic program um, experience their first semester at a Research One university, or how do they experience their first semester at a community college? So you can see where you can take your topic up really high or down really low. What we're looking for is a research question or a topic that's probably around the micro level, a practical question, which you may then go further into a minutia when you get into your research design. But just playing with your topic at different levels is what I'd like you to think about at this point. So here's another example of socialization of student organizations. How do people form groups? What's the nature of socialization? How do norms work to control human behavior? How does hazing serve to socialize fraternity members into group membership? How does drinking upside down martinis help fraternity pledges bond with one another? You could see where, in this case, the topic of socialization of students into their student organizations can be looked at from a mega level all the way down to a minutia level. I'll let you think about that for a little bit. So, depending on your assignment or task, there's an appropriate level. So for this semester, you're developing a research project, something that you're going to try to accomplish in the next few months, something that I'm going to be asking you to do, some pretty specific things. I'm going to ask you to do some observations, interviewing some students, finding some other forms of data, maybe a different kind of interview, or looking at some artifacts. So you need to figure out a level of analysis that's going to work for you for this semester. So you don't want a topic that's too big or a topic that's too small. I've found that most students suffer from working with topics that are too broad or too detailed. And students suffer from working on projects that are either too practical, they don't have a conceptual frame that they're working with, or they have a conceptual frame but they can't think of a practical application for it. So this naming and framing of finding a topic and then thinking of it at different levels is really important at this point in the semester when you're trying to find a project that you're going to be able to get done and feel like you've had the opportunity to get some good takeaways. That's it.